Why you fail to get what you want, and the shadow behind it. Most people think they don't get what they want because they're not trying hard enough, not focused enough, not smart enough. But that's rarely the truth. The real reason is quieter, more invisible. It lives underneath the surface of every goal you've set and every time you gave up halfway. It's not about discipline. It's about the part of you that doesn't believe you deserve what you want in the first place. This isn't laziness. This is the shadow, a concept Carl Jung spoke of, but most people still ignore. The shadow is the unseen part of yourself that holds shame, fear, and self-rejection, and it doesn't want you to succeed, not because it's evil, but because it's scared. Scared that if you do win, people will see through you, that you'll be exposed as a fraud, that you'll lose everything again. So we chase, and chase, and chase. But the chase isn't rooted in desire. It's rooted in fear. We want approval, not achievement. We want escape, not expansion. We want relief from being invisible, more than we want the prize itself. And this is the first illusion, thinking that willpower alone can override a subconscious that is wired to protect you from your own light. Then there's the modern brain, addicted to instant feedback like a lab rat pressing a dopamine button. Daniel Kahneman called it mental heuristics. We shortcut reality, confuse feelings with facts, and sabotage ourselves with split-second judgments that feel like truth, but they're not. They're echoes of your past. So the game isn't about forcing results. It's about understanding how reality mirrors behavior, not just what you do, but how you carry the energy behind it. This isn't manipulation. This is alignment. And if you learn how to align your behavior with deep psychological truths, the world begins to respond in ways you've never imagined. Let's begin. Trick 1. The mirror reflex. People trust what reflects them. There's a pain you carry that no one sees. It started years ago, maybe in school, maybe in your own house. Tiny rejections that piled up until you started believing the world didn't want you. That pain shaped your identity more than your values ever did. And the tragedy is, you thought it was your personality, but it was only armor. We're told to be authentic, but that phrase has become hollow. It ignores something ancient and something wired into our nervous system: mirroring. You see, people don't bond with truth. They bond with familiarity, with rhythm, with the feeling of being seen, not by your uniqueness, but by your ability to reflect their essence back to them. Conscious mirroring isn't manipulation. It's intelligence, survival intelligence. It's what children do when they mimic their parents. It's what leaders do when they want to gain trust. And it's what you can do, not to deceive, but to connect. In a negotiation, in a conversation, in any room where power is shifting, the one who mirrors becomes the one who leads. Think of Vito Corleone in The Godfather. His power didn't come from volume. It came from reflection. He mirrored the energy in the room, stayed calm, absorbed chaos. And that's why people trusted him. They felt seen, safe, understood. If you want people to follow you, reflect them first. Not their words, their rhythm, their breath, their hidden fears. Trick 2. Silence as a weapon, the psychology of not reacting. There's a reason you feel the need to explain yourself all the time, to justify your choices, to respond fast when someone questions you. That reflex isn't strength, it's a trauma response. Somewhere along the way, you learned that being misunderstood is dangerous. That silence means weakness, that if you don't speak, you'll disappear. But here's the paradox. The most powerful people in the world, they don't react. They pause. They absorb. They make space. Because they know that silence creates tension, and tension creates gravity. In a world addicted to noise, silence is disruptive, and disruption creates influence. We've confused reactivity with relevance. But the truth is, the more you speak, the less power your words carry. Silence forces others to fill in the gaps, and what they imagine is often more persuasive than anything you could have said. Stillness destabilizes manipulators. It unnerves aggressors. It signals, I am not here to play your game. Think of the samurai. He doesn't swing the sword first. He waits, breathes, studies, because presence is a weapon. And the moment you stop rushing to react, people start leaning in. They want to know what you're not saying. That's when you lead, not with noise, but with energy. Trick 3. Curiosity kills resistance. How to disarm any ego. You've felt it before. That moment when you try to express an idea and the other person shuts down. Not because your idea is wrong, but because they feel threatened, judged, pushed. And in that moment, it's no longer about truth. It's about ego. Most resistance isn't logical. It's emotional. People defend not their beliefs but their dignity. And when you try to prove something, what you're really doing is forcing them to admit they're wrong. That's not persuasion. That's battle. But there's a different path. Curiosity. Genuine curiosity is the secret door. It doesn't push. It opens. It doesn't argue. It invites. When you become curious, truly curious, about someone's worldview, something magical happens. Their defenses lower. Their ego relaxes. And they start to question themselves. Not because you attacked them, but because you created space. Ask open-ended questions. Not to trap them, but to understand them. Ask, what made you believe that? Or, how did you come to that conclusion? And mean it. People will tell you things they don't even realize they've been waiting to say, if you let them. There's a story of a therapist who worked with a narcissistic client. Nothing worked until he stopped diagnosing and started asking. Within weeks, the man began to unravel the very identity he had been protecting. Not because someone challenged him, but because someone finally saw him. Trick 4. The scarcity glitch. People want what withdraws. We are wired to chase what we can't fully have. It's biological, it's psychological, and it's inescapable. The promise of gain might motivate you, but the fear of loss, that drives people to obsession. When you make yourself constantly available, people don't see it as kindness. They interpret it, consciously or not, as low value. Why? Because anything abundant is assumed to be less essential, less sacred, less rare. But when you begin to pull back, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect, the dynamic changes. People lean in. They wonder why. They feel the absence. And absence, when timed right, creates meaning. Learn to exit at emotional peaks. Not when the energy dies, but when it's still alive. That's how you leave a mark. That's how you create memory. Think of luxury brands. They sell less, not more. They don't beg. They whisper. And people come running. This isn't about games. It's about understanding that desire is fueled not just by what's offered, but by what's at risk of being lost. Trick 5. The identity loop. Make people choose you by making them choose themselves. Deep down, most people aren't afraid of rejection. They're afraid of betraying themselves, of doing something that doesn't align with who they think they are. And that's your key. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. You just need to present your offer, your idea, your value, your presence, as something that fits who they already believe they are, or who they secretly wish they could become. Identity-based persuasion is the most powerful form of influence, not because it tricks people, but because it resonates. When something feels aligned, we don't resist it. We embrace it, because it makes us feel more like ourselves. So frame your words not as demands, but as mirrors. Reflect back the person they want to be. Show them how choosing you is, in fact, choosing themselves. That's what Apple did. They didn't sell features, they sold identity. They didn't say, buy our product. They said, this is what people like you do. When you become a symbol of alignment, people won't just follow you. They'll defend you. Because now it's personal. Conclusion. Rewire the field. The science of belief and biological frequency. None of these psychological tools matter if your inner state contradicts your external actions. The universe, or reality, or the field, whatever you want to call it, doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you are. Bruce Lipton showed us that belief isn't just mindset, it's biochemistry. Your thoughts become electrical signals. Your emotions create frequency fields, and those fields are what people feel before you speak. Gregg Braden went even further, suggesting that emotional coherence doesn't just shape individual outcomes, but collective ones. When your nervous system is aligned with intention, the world begins to shift around you. You attract not what you want, but what you broadcast. You don't get chosen by trying to be worthy. You get chosen by becoming real, fully, brutally, silently real. So stop forcing, start aligning, start noticing, start listening to the field. Because the moment you do, you'll realize something. You were never trying to get what you want. You are trying to become who you already are, and that is where everything begins.